Level 1. The Patrol Officer. You are 21 years old. You graduated from the Columbus Division of Police Academy on a Friday afternoon. It rained during the ceremony. Your dress uniform was still damp when your mother took a photo of you holding your badge. You drove home alone. You started your first shift that Monday. Which rank would you stop at? Think about it and drop your answer in the comments right now. Your field training officer is a 14-year veteran named Kowalski. He doesn't say much on the first ride-along. He lets you do the talking. On your second domestic disturbance call of the night, a rowdy apartment on Livingston Avenue, you spend 6 minutes explaining the situation to a man who isn't listening. Kowalski stands in the hallway the whole time without a word. Back in the cruiser, he says, "You talked for 6 minutes. You needed 30 seconds. The rest was you being nervous." You don't argue. He's right. The first year is patrol. All of it. Traffic stops on Broad Street. Trespass calls outside convenience stores on the east side. Welfare checks. You write incident reports until your hands cramp. The job is mostly paperwork, interrupted by moments you don't expect. But every week or two, you hear it. Units in the SWAT activation channel. Short, deliberate call signs. No wasted words. A different language from the rest of the frequency. You run 6 mornings a week now. 5 miles before the sun comes up. You don't explain it to your roommate. You barely explain it to yourself. The second year, you get faster at the reports. The third year, you start seeing the scene before you're fully out of the car. You are becoming a police officer. That is not the same as being ready for what comes next, but it's where it starts. Every time. No exceptions. Level 2. The Applicant. You are 24 years old, 3 years and 4 months on the job. You've submitted your SWAT application packet. 7 pages. Service record. Fitness scores. 2 supervisor endorsements. A personal statement that took 4 drafts because you kept sounding too eager. The department holds 1 selection cycle per year. Of the 31 applications received, 14 are invited to the screening assessment. You are one of the 14. The assessment is on a Thursday in early November at the Franklin County Training Annex off Gender Road. You arrive at 5:45 a.m. It's still dark. 2 other candidates are already in the parking lot, sitting in their cars. Nobody talks. At 6 a.m., a compact, grey-eyed sergeant named Instructor Halloran walks out in a tactical jacket and says, "Some of you will be cut today before lunch. Not because you failed a test, because of how you handled failing a test. Watch yourself." He isn't wrong. By 11:30 a.m., 4 candidates are gone. 1 threw a cone when he clipped it on the obstacle course. 1 explained why his runtime was slow before anyone asked. 1 sat down on a wall and put his head in his hands. The 4th failed the stress drill. Not because he didn't know the answer, but because he stopped trying to find it. Nobody announces the cuts. Halloran walks over, speaks quietly, and the candidate collects their bag. The stress drill puts an evaluator 2 feet from your face, shouting contradictory commands while you solve a timed problem. Most candidates freeze or comply with the wrong instruction. You stop, find the clearest tactical logic, execute it, and wait. Halloran marks his clipboard. 2 weeks later, a letter arrives. Report date for SWAT selection course, January 9th. Gear list enclosed. Do not arrive late. You fold it. Put it on the kitchen counter. Make coffee. Then sit down and read the gear list 3 times because you don't know what else to do with yourself. Level 3. SWAT Trainee. You are 25 years old. Selection lasts 6 weeks. 8 candidates enter. 5 will finish. Week 1 is entirely physical evaluation, not designed to destroy you, but to reveal you. You run in full load-bearing kit. You drag weighted rescue dummies through corridors. You sprint, drop, low crawl, sprint again. Evaluators ask scenario questions while you're at 85% of your maximum heart rate. The point is to find out what your decision-making looks like when your body is screaming at you to stop thinking and just survive. Week 2 is legal framework and tactical doctrine. The 4th Amendment. exigent circumstances. The knock and announce requirement under Wilson versus Arkansas, 1995. You learn quickly that a SWAT operator who doesn't understand constitutional law is a liability. A bad breach without legal standing doesn't just get people hurt. It ends prosecutions. It costs lives that were saved for nothing in a courtroom. Week 3 introduces the shoot house. Close quarters, battle fundamentals. Firearms qualification, under time and stress. The hallways are narrow. The lighting is deliberately low. Your first solo run-through is slow in a way that embarrasses you. Halloran walks the entire length behind you and says nothing. His silence during a run is worse than any correction. Week 4 is team movement. A 4-person element that moves with trained coherence is faster and safer than 4 individuals who are each excellent alone. You start reading teammates without language. The shift of a shoulder before a corner. A fist at the edge of a doorway. 2 fingers toward a staircase. Individual excellence is the floor, not the ceiling. 2 candidates wash out in weeks 3 and 4. 1 fails live fire qualification twice. The other quits on the morning of a pre-dawn scenario. He sits on a concrete step, takes off his helmet, sets it beside him, and says quietly, "I'm done." Nobody argues. You file past him to the trucks. Week 6 is the full team final evaluation. A scenario exercise in a decommissioned industrial facility in Groveport. Unknown number of subjects. Unknown layout. Possible hostage. Your team clears the structure in under 14 minutes. 0 friendly casualties. All primary objectives completed. You pass. That night, someone brings coffee in a thermos. Nobody makes a speech. You stand in the parking lot in 28-degree air, and for the first time in 6 weeks, nobody is grading anything. It feels strange. You don't fully trust it yet. But something settles in your chest. Quiet? Exact. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, comment what you want next, hit that like button right now, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We upload every single day. Level 4, the probationary operator. You are 25 years old, almost 26. You pass selection. You are not a SWAT operator yet. Not in the eyes of the team. The probationary period runs 6 months to 1 year. You perform at full operational capacity. You respond to every call-out, run every drill. But you are being evaluated constantly by people who don't announce that they're evaluating you. You are at the bottom of the stack, literally. On every breach, the most experienced operators hold the most critical positions. You go in near the middle. You cover your assigned sector. You do not improvise. You do not freelance. Questions get asked in the debrief. Never during an operation. Your team sergeant is a 12-year operator named Sergeant Rafferty. Precise the way a good surgeon is precise. No wasted motion, no wasted words. When he corrects something, he does it once, calmly, and expects it resolved. The second correction comes in a lower voice. That drop in register is the signal. Your first live call-out comes in February. A barricaded subject in a 2-story house on Ferris Road. A 47-year-old man, believed armed with a rifle, barricaded after an altercation with family. He has been inside 4 hours by the time SWAT activates. You hold a perimeter position in the backyard for 90 minutes. Cold, still, listening. Nothing moves in the windows. The negotiator works the phone for another hour and 20 minutes. Then the front door opens. The man steps out with his hands raised, crying in a way that sounds like someone releasing something they've carried a long time. No shots fired, no injuries. At the debrief, Rafferty goes through every position on the perimeter. He gets to you. He notes that at the 80-minute mark, you changed your stance without a signal being given. Why did you shift? He asks. Right hip, you say. Was it affecting your position or your focus? You pause. You answer honestly. Focus, you say. He nods once. He moves on. You understand the exchange without him explaining it. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be effective. The two things are not always the same, and the gap between them is your responsibility to manage. Level 5, the operator. You are 27 years old. Your probationary period ended 10 months ago. You are a full team member. 23 call-outs behind you. 4 barricaded subjects. 6 high-risk warrant services. 3 hostage situations where SWAT staged and the negotiators resolved it before any door opened. 2 vehicle interdiction operations. 1 school threat that was real. That one doesn't leave you. You've talked about it with the department's critical incident psychologist, Dr. Marsh, twice. You've talked about it once with your partner at home. There is a layer of it you don't put into words, not because you're avoiding it, but because language doesn't fit the shape of it. You know the layout of that hallway, the weight of the door, the sound of the radio before you made entry. Those details live in a precise location in your memory. You visit them sometimes. You make sure they stay where you put them. At 27, you are developing what veterans call field fluency, reading a scene for what it's telling you, not just what it's showing you. The car parked at the wrong angle. The porch light on in the afternoon. The neighbor who comes out to watch and goes back inside too quickly. None of it is evidence. All of it is information. You earn your tactical emergency medical support certification this year. 14 weeks of study alongside your call-out schedule. Tourniquet application under simulated fire. Hemorrhage control. Airway management in a confined space. You study at your kitchen table at 11 p.m., 3 nights a week. It is not glamorous. It is important. You are good at this job. Not great yet. You can feel the difference. The feeling means you are still learning. The day you stop feeling it, Rafferty once told the team, is the day you start getting dangerous. Level 6. The specialist. Sniper. You are 29 years old. After 2 years as a full operator, you were selected for sniper school after completing a secondary screening and long-range marksmanship evaluation at the Ohio State Patrol Training Range in London, Ohio. Not every operator takes the specialist track. Some pursue the breacher certification, explosive and mechanical entry. Others go deep into tactical medicine. You went here. Sniper school is 2 weeks of the most precise, isolating work you have ever done. Nothing like entry work. Entry is speed and controlled aggression. This is stillness. Patience measured in hours. A level of focus so concentrated it becomes physical. A pressure behind the eyes. A slowing of everything that isn't the reticle, the target, and your own breath. You qualify at the NTOA standard. First round hits on a 3.5-inch target at 100 yards. Field qualifications out to 300 yards in low light, crosswind, and timed conditions. You also qualify as an observer, responsible for range estimation, wind calculation, threat assessment, and communication back to the command post. The 2-person sniper element is not a shooter with an assistant. It is a system. On callouts, you deploy differently now. You arrive early. You build your hide before the command post is established. You watch. You report. A SWAT sniper's primary value is not the shot. It is the information. You see the subject through a second-floor window at 2 a.m., pacing, holding something in his left hand that is not a weapon. You radio it in. The negotiator adjusts. The entire response changes. 3 call-outs this year with your sniper element. 1 ends in a negotiated surrender. 1 with a less lethal resolution by the entry team. 1 ends with a shot. You debrief that 3rd one with Dr. Marsh over 6 sessions. You debrief it tactically with Rafferty in 2 sit-downs. You find no error in the decision. The finding does not make it easier. You did not expect it to. Level 7. The assistant team leader. You are 32 years old. 3 years as a specialist. 61 total call-outs. Sergeant Rafferty asks you to step into the assistant team leader role. In the formal SWAT structure, the ATL assists the team leader in planning and element management and assumes full command if the team leader is incapacitated or unavailable. It is the first formal leadership designation in the SWAT hierarchy. Before, you prepared yourself for call-outs. Now you prepare your element. You review intelligence packages before briefings to find gaps before Rafferty does. You run training evolutions for the newer operators. You watch who asks good questions, who avoids the ones they should be asking, who absorbs correction, and who just waits for you to finish. There is a probationary operator named Delgado, 25 years old, technically excellent, instinctively reckless. He crowds corners. He moves faster than the element when the element needs to move together. He is not showing off. He genuinely doesn't feel the danger because he hasn't been inside enough situations where it appeared where he didn't expect it. You take him aside after a drill, not in front of the group. You tell him directly. His speed is an asset in the right circumstances and a liability in the wrong ones. And right now, he cannot tell the difference. He listens. You watch his face. He is absorbing it. That matters more than the correction itself. Rafferty watches from across the room. Later he says only, "Good. You are no longer just an operator who is excellent. You are beginning to be responsible for operators who need to become excellent. That is a different weight. You carry it the same way you carry everything else in this work. Directly, without drama, and without pretending it isn't there." Level 8. The team leader. You are 35 years old. Sergeant Rafferty retired at the end of last year. He came in on his last day in civilian clothes and shook every person's hand without making a speech. You watched him go. You said enough. You are now team leader of Element 2, promoted to the rank of sergeant. The process required passing the department's sergeant's examination, completing a 40-hour NTOA tactical leadership course, and an interview before the SWAT commander and the deputy chief. You lead 5 operators. On any call-out, you are the person making real-time decisions inside the structure. Stack sequencing, movement speed, priority of rooms, when to hold and when to advance. The commander authorizes the operation. You make every decision that happens after the door opens. Your element is Delgado, 28 now, steadier, still fast, but thinking first. Cruz, 6 years on the team, certified explosive breacher, quiet and precise. Nakamura, 4 years, sniper qualified, the best natural field reader you've worked with. Hayward, 2 years, new. And you, 5 people, 1 stack, whatever is on the other side. In March, you receive a call-out at 1:15 a.m., a hostage situation in Ghana. A 38-year-old man has barricaded himself with his 9-year-old daughter after a domestic dispute. The daughter is confirmed inside. The subject is confirmed armed with a handgun. Negotiators have been on the phone for 3 hours. The conversation is deteriorating. You plan the entry from 2 to 3:30 a.m. You and Nakamura walk the floor plan twice. You identify 4 unknowns: interior door positions, the subject's exact location, whether the child is ambulatory, and the structural layout of the hallway to the rear bedroom. You build a response to each. You brief your element twice. At 4:05 a.m., the negotiator reports the subject has gone silent. Last known position, rear bedroom. Child status, unknown. The commander gives authorization. Your element makes entry at 4:07 a.m. Cruz breaches. Delgado enters first. You follow. Nakamura covers the staircase. Hayward holds the rear exterior. The bedroom door is closed. Delgado makes the call at the threshold. You give the signal. The door opens. The subject is standing in the far corner. The girl is on the bed, unharmed, watching with an expression that is very still and very frightened. The subject raises the handgun. Delgado gives the command. Loud. Immediate. Exact. The subject doesn't fire. He stands for 4 seconds that feel longer. Then he sets the handgun on the floor and sits down beside it. The girl is out of the house in under 90 seconds. She is holding Nakamura's flashlight because she asked to hold something and he gave it to her. In the debrief, you find one moment, the pause before the hallway, where your element was slower than the plan required. You document it. You discuss it without blame. Hayward asks the right question about stack spacing in narrow corridors. You answer it fully. That is how it works. You get home at 8:30 a.m. Your partner puts a plate in front of you without asking for details. You eat. You sleep at 10 o'clock and wake at 4 p.m. That is what a good call-out looks like. You are grateful for it every time. Level 9, the executive officer. You are 41 years old, 6 years as team leader. 97 call-outs at that level. Last fall, Lieutenant Aguilar recommended you for the executive officer position, the second in command of the entire tactical unit. You now oversee all 3 element team leaders, manage training schedules, equipment procurement, interagency coordination, and all after-action reviews. When Aguilar is unavailable, you carry full command authority. You still respond to call-outs. You are still in kit, but your position has moved from the stack to the forward command post, close enough to see the building, far enough back to hold the entire operation in your mind at once. Sniper positions, containment perimeter, negotiation channel, entry element readiness, the detail about the rear exit. The intelligence officer flagged that the commander hasn't addressed. You address it. You bring it to Aguilar 30 minutes before the entry window. He adjusts the containment assignment. It matters. In February, a warrant service produces a near miss and a full internal review. The target had relocated 2 weeks prior. The entry team executed on a home with an unrelated family inside. No one was hurt. The team responded correctly. Immediate de-escalation, no use of force. But it should not have happened. You trace the failure not to the analyst who missed the address change, but to the verification protocol that didn't require secondary confirmation within 72 hours of execution. You write the new protocol. It is implemented department-wide within 2 weeks. You do not make an example of the analyst. You fix the system. Individual blame is easy and almost always incomplete. Systemic correction is hard and almost always the actual point. Level 10, the SWAT commander. You are 46 years old. Lieutenant Aguilar retired last spring after 22 years. At his retirement dinner, he told a story about a call-out in 2009, back when they were still using older ballistic shields. He told it well. Everyone laughed in the right places. You watched his face when he finished. You are the SWAT commander now. 28 operators, 4 element team leaders. Your executive officer is Delgado. 38, steady, no longer crowding corners. You know each person on this team, not their files, them. Who slows under pressure and who speeds up. Who needs the question asked directly and who works it out alone. Who has something at home that is making it harder to be here, and who needs you to notice without forcing the conversation. You are not in the stack anymore. When the entry is made, you are at the command post with the radio in your hand and the floor plan in front of you and your people inside a building you cannot see fully. You have spent 25 years learning to act with precision in confined spaces. Now the confined space is inside you. The distance between what you know and what you can control from where you're standing. You learn to hold that. A city council subcommittee asks you to appear regarding SWAT deployment policy and use of force standards. You prepare for 3 days. Not to defend the unit, but to explain it honestly, because honest explanation is more durable than defense. A council member asks whether tactical units cause more harm than they resolve. You don't get defensive. You've asked yourself the same question. You say, NTOA and IACP. Data consistently shows that properly trained and selectively deployed SWAT teams result in lower injury rates for officers, subjects, and bystanders than patrol responses to the same categories of incident. That is not an argument for over-deployment. It is an argument for rigorous standards and disciplined activation thresholds. The question is not whether these teams should exist. It is whether the criteria for their use are precise enough, and whether the accountability after every deployment is honest enough. The council member nods. Writes something down. You drive back to the precinct at 6:30 p.m. The lot is quiet. The SWAT truck is backed into its space, clean, kitted, ready. A patrol officer, 22, maybe 23, is standing near the fence looking at it. She has the look. You recognize it because you had it at 21 and because you have been watching for it in every generation of officers that came up while you were on this team. You don't stop. You go inside. You have after-action reports to review. There are always after-action reports to review. But before you go in, you pause at the door. You think about Kowalski, who taught you that silence is information. Halloran, who cut 4 candidates before lunch on a cold November morning. Rafferty, who corrected you once, cleanly, and never had to do it again. The girl on the bed holding Nakamura's flashlight. The long dark hours in a hide at the edge of a tree line, watching a lit window at 200 yards, and the weight of the decision that lives in the space between seeing and acting. 25 years. And the thing you know now, standing at this door, that you could not have known at 21, is that the rank was never the point. The rank was the shape the work took. The work was always the same. Be ready. Be correct. Be responsible for the people beside you and accountable for the moment in front of you. The door is still out there. Someone is walking toward it right now. Radio in their ear. Team at their back. They don't know what's on the other side. You train them to be ready for that. You hope it was enough. It probably was.